I'm definitely not for everyone. Our friend Glenda said, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm someone's shot of tequila.
Just because I like old houses doesn't mean I can use old methods to sell them. That doesn't work. You have to keep up with the times.
The direction that technology and AI are taking us, we're going to be able to do a lot more and cover a lot more ground.
I know these areas back and forth. I can drive up the street with you and I can tell you who owned a house 30 years ago, who owned it 20 years ago, what their social security number is.
Actually, I ended up giving a referral on this client, but they had initially reached out to me on a DM, and it was the biggest sale of my career.
Tracy, Josh, I'm excited to be here with you and have a conversation. My first question is for you, Tracy. You recently expanded your business to Texas, to Austin and Dallas, and I'd love to hear what prompted the move and how it has reshaped how you're able to serve your clients.
It's been amazing. The reason I initially decided to take my business to Texas is because during COVID, 2020, 2021, I had about 50 million in friends and real estate leave California and go to Texas. We had no Flagg there at the time. I obviously didn't have my license, so that was like business lost at a really amazing time to be selling high-end luxury real estate. So with that said, I got my license. Douglas Elliman put a flag down in both Dallas and Austin and Houston. So it became apparent that was where I needed to be.
That's great. What are some of the strategies you found successful for recruiting top agents in competitive markets like Austin and Dallas?
It's been interesting. I didn't come into Texas with any kind of ego. I learned that lesson from other people who did. Names not needed to be mentioned.
You're not referring to me.
No. But that said, I think it was more about making relationships organically, coming in with the mindset that I had a lot to learn about a new market. And I basically spent the first year doing exactly that, studying the different neighborhoods, talking to agents, creating relationships and friendships, again, without ego. And it served me really well. So in the last 3 months, I've recruited 6 new agents to Dallas with 3 on the way, all from very reputable top brokerages. And we're really excited to watch them grow on the team. And obviously, I think in the next 18 months, we will own a lot of the market there.
Yeah, it's amazing. What's the most important leadership lesson you've learned in scaling that team so quickly?
Don't bend so easily. I don't know. I think it has been a process. And Texas is a...
Sorry. Oops.
So fucking Flagg, isn't it? Yeah, you wish. They wouldn't let you in the door. Anyway, I think for me, coming into a new market, arguably coming from our show and having a national presence in real estate is a great thing. But it doesn't mean I know how to lead in an entirely different state that many of these brokers have been working in for a long time. So in terms of recruiting, it was about learning what their needs were, learning what wasn't working for them, and I knew right where we were going to fit in. They just don't have the same sophistication in terms of brokerage that we do in states like New York, Florida, California. And so I knew that our marketing and our reach was the lane that we would be able to bring a lot of great people over, and it worked.
Yeah, that's great. Congrats.
Thank you.
Josh, you have represented many of the most distinguished and historic homes here in Beverly Hills over the years, and you've sold several of them multiple times over. So my question for you is, what's the secret to developing such a stronghold on a particular market?
I think knowledge, obviously. I know these areas back and forth. I can drive up the street with you and I can tell you who owned a house 30 years ago, who owned it 20 years ago, what their social security number is. I know everything about every house, and I've just been that way since I was a little child. And I think that's important. And I really have an affinity towards architectural homes. When I say architectural, people always think of like mid-centuries. That's not what I mean by architectural. It could be a 1920s Wallace Neff, or it could be a 1950s, could be any Hal Levitt, but just architecturally significant homes, not these really contemporary white modern boxes, which I really don't have an affinity towards. I sell them once in a while, but that's not my speed.
Yeah. How do you combine the historic charm of the listings that you sell with some of the very modern marketing techniques that you use when it comes to social media?
Just because I like old houses doesn't mean I can use old methods to sell them. That doesn't work. You have to keep up with the times, clearly. So we're always keeping up with the times, and we're always doing whatever needs to be done to sell houses today, which is very different than selling houses 10 years ago or 20 years ago. So just keeping up with the times.
Yeah. Looking ahead, what's something that you believe is going to change in a big way over the next 5 years?
There may be some changes with how real estate agents are paid, these NAR settlement, whatnot. I don't know how significant it's going to be. I don't think that the buyer's agent is going anywhere. Just the only difference is it's who's paying them. I don't think there's going to be tremendous changes, little changes, but nothing tremendous.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's always going to be a market for professional, high-performing agents, regardless of some of the process changes that may be happening. What's your take on that, Tracy?
I agree with Josh. I think over the course of the next 5 years, we'll see market shift, hopefully in a direction that serves everybody.
Yeah.
There's always going to be new and more innovative ways of doing business. So I think with AI, I think in terms of technology and the direction that technology and AI are taking us, we're going to be able to do a lot more and cover a lot more ground in our industry than we have in the last 10. So that means more sales, more productivity, which we've talked about before. And so I think we're very lucky to be in that position. And as I've said before, and I know you would agree, our business will always be personal touch. It's everybody needs to be represented properly. And in terms of the settlement, people will still be represented by agents. I would never go through a divorce and go to my ex-husband's attorney to represent me. Why the hell would I do that on the biggest asset in my life? I think it's important to have really good representation.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Let's talk about marketing. You both have built incredibly successful personal brands and social media followings. How important has your personal brand been to your real estate business?
For me, I'm definitely not for everyone. Our friend Glenda said, I'm not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm someone's shot of tequila. I very much agree with that sentiment. My brand has evolved over the years, and it's definitely become more sophisticated as I've grown in the industry and also in other ways personally. So my brand is reflective of that. And I think you have to constantly be considerate of evolving and allow for that change, because as we grow, we learn, we become better, we become more sophisticated, both in our business and in our personal lives. So I think for me, remaining authentic and remembering that it's okay to not be for everybody, as long as the lane that you are in is serving you and you are who you are. That's the best way to, I think, gain an audience that is going to love you and love you forever and allow you to represent them with the biggest asset that they have.
Yeah. What about you, Josh? What role does your brand play in your business?
My brand really hasn't changed much. It's always been the same.
92-year-old in a 38-year-old's body.
Yeah, I pretty much cater to a certain clientele and the same kinds of homes. It's never really changed because that's what I've wanted since the beginning. And I like it. I don't know how to answer the question. Yeah, it doesn't really change.
Do you have a lot of clients who find you from social media specifically?
Absolutely. I say one of the biggest deals that wouldn't have come my way if actually I ended up giving a referral on this client, but they had initially reached out to me on a DM, and it was the biggest sale of my career. Had I not missed that DM, I wouldn't have had to give a 25% referral fee on a almost $57 million property. So yeah, check your DMs.
Yeah, good advice. What about the sellers you work with? How much do they care about the reach that you can drive through your marketing channels?
Because of the show, obviously, we have a tremendous reach, and I think they know that ahead of time. That's probably why they contact us. Your average agent gets about 1,000 people that look at their website a month, whereas we could get hundreds and hundreds of thousands a month. So I think that's really important to them going in no matter what.
And I don't think that comes with ego. It's not about the show, right? You don't put your house on the show so that it sells faster. God willing, by the time the show is on, your house is already sold. But I think the point is, and he made it eloquently, is it's so important to get that traction to our sites. And by virtue of having the show on television and having all these other opportunities that have come from it, it just drives more traffic to our websites, and therefore we have more leads.
Yeah, which is a great segue. Let's talk about your recent website launches, respectively. You both launched your new websites with luxury presence. Talk to me about the importance of your website to your business.
Mine's huge. I absolutely have struggled for many years to find the right site that is really functional, easy to navigate, and more importantly, delivering me leads that I have answers. I have qualifications. I know where they come from. I have their contact information. It dives as deep as to the houses they've been looking at on my site. That is a huge asset when you're doing discovery on a potential new client. To be able to have that in front of you prior to ever even speaking to them makes you more prepared. And obviously, that lead then turns into an actual client.
Josh, what was the inspiration and vision behind your website design?
Actually, luxury hotels. I'm very much into hotels, and some of the best websites I've ever seen are some of the great hotels around the world. And so I told Luxury Presence to look at 3 or 4 of my favorite hotel websites. And I think it's a blend, and that's the look of the website, like a very high-end hotel.
Yeah. And it turned out extremely well. What was the process like of working with our team?
Excellent. I didn't have to fight with anybody or to demand what I wanted. If they disagreed, they just did what I wanted. And if they disagreed with something, they would tell me, and I would give them my opinion, and we'd either do it or not do it. But it wasn't actually actually what I was most impressed with was the speed. It was amazing, the turnaround. I would just say, I want this, then, and normally I would expect something days later. Within 20 minutes, okay, we've made these changes, and then would send them another change. Okay, it's been updated. It's fast.
Yeah.
I think that for me, it was like a discovery call and vision and context for who I am as a person, the design that I like was all I needed to say. And then they came back with a first round with really 2 options to just get a sense from me as to if they were going in the right direction. And I was like, I think we're done here. It was the most seamless experience I've had creating a website. And in the past, it's taken like 6 to 8 months to, get to that start to finish. And I would say this was a matter of, 60, 75 days all the way to the finish line, and far more depth for our clients than we've ever had before, which is huge for us.
Yeah. I'm so glad to hear that. What's next for you? What are some projects that you're excited about?
In terms of like houses coming up?
Anything related to your business? Any upcoming, I know, estate media you want to talk about?
Our show is coming up. We're going to be out probably within 2 months, I would say, season 15 of the show. And we have some really exciting houses that are coming on the market, and some that are on the market already. And I've seen the market pick up a lot recently.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing more traction happening. I think I have some really exciting things happening in terms of people coming to my team, both in California and Texas, which means a lot more work for all of us behind the scenes. But I think the show is an exciting time. I'm really glad that we have our website up and running, because when the show airs, we get a ton more visitors to our site and the months following that. And so now everybody has a place to go while the show is airing and really capture what it is that we are doing, because none of what we do is it is actually based in reality. It's none of it's fake. And a lot of the other shows that you might watch are just that. They're not really reality. They're soap drama or whatever. And so we're really proud of that show, and it's incredible for our clients as well.
Yeah. A lot of younger, newer agents look up to the two of you. What's some advice that you have for a new agent who's looking to succeed in this type of market environment?
Don't work for Josh. I'm just kidding. I love mentoring. It's a big part of, I think, giving back. I started in this industry and I didn't really have too many people to look up to, and I really thought I could do it on my own. And I learned by virtue of failing to get where I am today. And so I think being able to give young agents coming into the industry an opportunity to see things from a different perspective is a really great way, I think, of giving back. But I think, I don't even know what the hell was that. Where were we?
I lost my train.
I lost my train of thought.
Josh, do you have advice for young agents looking to break into the luxury market?
Yeah, I always say the same thing. Don't start. So work for a team to start with, and then make sure it's a high-end luxury team, and then sit open houses. It's the best way to find buyers. Sit open houses.
What would you say are the most important skills for an agent to learn? Top 3 things.
Oh, I think you're just knowing the area, that you have to have a knowledge of the area. That's definitely my success is I can tell you anything about any house in the city. So knowing the inventory.
You also have to be able to learn how to connect with people. You can know all the facts in the world, but if you don't have the ability to connect in a room and elevate that space by the people that you're talking to, then you're a lost soldier. This business is full of a bunch of sharks. And so you have to be prepared to walk into the room and own it. knowing your shit for sure. Absolutely being able to connect with the people and make sure you're in the right rooms and be prepared for that. And then what do you think finally? Having a great website like Luxury Presence.
That's the most important thing. And that's a great place to end the conversation. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.